ideas and philosophies that are in Russell Brunson's new book on traffic secrets. Traffic is key. Customers are key to any business, whether you're a retail business and particularly if you're an online business. If you're an online business, you can have the best service, the best products, the best offer. But if you don't get any traffic to it, if you don't get any customers going to that offer, then, it's no good. So I love the thought and idea that Russell's book is in essence broken up into three parts. The first one is more around strategy. I'm going to pull out and particularly emphasize some of those key points now over the next couple of minutes. It then goes into section 2, which starts going into a little bit more detail, talking through some of those tactics, some of those thoughts and ideas. And then in section 3, talks about growth hacking, which is equally stimulating. So this is just a little bit of a teaser, a taster. I highly recommend his book. Here are some of my key takeaways. The 5 I'm going to talk you through. Number 1, building your list. Number 2, your dream customer. Both number 2 and number 3, dream customer and the dream 100, are like themes that run all the way through the book, through all 3 sections. So I thought I'd pull those out and just give you a taste or a flavor of those. Because if you get those right, wow, that can set you up for success. Number 4 and number 5, I'm actually going to split this up into a second video. Otherwise, to try and keep these videos into bite-sized chunks. So I'm going to cover these first 3 today: build your list, your dream customer, and the dream 100. And then I'm going to do a second video specifically around YouTube. And then number 5 actually isn't in Russell's book, but it's my personal favorite of if I was starting again, or when I look back on the money I've been fortunate to make on the internet. If there's one key traffic strategy that I would start with first, that's actually a free strategy. It takes a bit of time, but it's a free strategy, but it's incredibly effective when you keep doing it. And it can get you, with a bit of effort, to be able to get first page rankings on Google and YouTube. So I think you're going to love that as well. That will come in the next video. First one, within Russell's book, Traffic Secrets, always build your list. Always be building your email list. There's a great book I remember reading about 30 years ago by a American guy called Harvey Mackay, whose book was titled Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty. Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty. And Russell mentions this a couple of times in the book, in essence saying that when you're growing your business, even right from the start, you should always be building your email list. Because if you're constantly building an email list, even if that's just one email a week or one email a day, then over time that will continue to grow and it will compound and it will give you more leverage. And you'll be able to go back and utilize that email list as a source of traffic in itself. I know I made the mistake when I first started online, is that when I was selling an e-com product, because I had so many other things to think about as a business owner, I mean, it was my first time selling online, this is going back 5 years ago, is a little bit like I described in one of my previous videos, and I've replicated the diagram here. Instead of taking the traffic here to capture their email list into some sort of opt-in page or landing page or squeeze page, then onto a thank you page, maybe delivering some bonuses or a gift, and building know, like, and trust, building a relationship, engaging your customers, then taking them to the sales page with your offer or your product, in my case. 5 years ago, I made the mistake of buying a lot of traffic, still buying traffic now, in fact, and sending it straight to the sales page rather than sending it to a bridge page or an opt-in page first, to be constantly growing that email list. If you've got that email list, you can fall back on that and use that as a traffic source. If I could turn the clock back, that's one of the things I would do differently 5 years ago. So I encourage you, if you're starting off or if you're looking at your existing business or service, please do start capturing that email list, because it's also a highly valuable business asset. Russell gives the example in one of his previous books that say one of the main reasons why Facebook paid $19 billion for WhatsApp. Facebook bought WhatsApp for its email list, because that was a way that Facebook could almost literally grow overnight and add these millions upon millions of new users that weren't currently in the Facebook ecosystem. So keep building your email list, and it's a massive business asset that will make your business more attractive as and when you want to exit that business, or as and when you want to make more money from that business. So please do keep building your list, drive traffic through your funnel. Don't just drive it straight to the sales page. Make sure you've got some way of capturing the email address and engaging with your customers, building a relationship so they get to know you a little bit. And if you like that approach, or if you think, oh, I'm not doing that at the moment, or I'm doing it, but I could be doing it better. My aim is in the next couple of days to share another video clip. I've got a great clip just to give you a little taster and a teaser of how you can do that and how you can do that in a really super simple and effective way. So also look out for that in the next couple of videos, a clip from Anik Singhal. Your dream customer. Who is your dream customer? In a previous video, I talked about attracting your dream customer or attracting your ideal customer. Russell talks about it again in his Traffic Secrets book. It's one of the key tenets, one of the key philosophies of his business, knowing and understanding who your dream customer is. If you know who they are, it's much easier to find them and target them. It's also easier to approach them and talk to them in a language that they understand, because you're putting yourself in their shoes. Then you're thinking about the blog or the ad or the website or the podcast or the free magnet and bonus that you're giving away. If you're constantly putting yourself in the shoes of your dream customer, then it's much easier to talk their language. There's a great bullet point here, and I love this. Russell mentions this in his book. Enter the conversation already taking place in the customer's mind. Enter the conversation already taking place in the customer's mind. In order to do that, though, or in order to make that easier to do, you've got to understand who your dream customer is. Once you understand your dream customer and you've done an avatar, or if you've done a profile of that dream customer, as far as saying what's their age, what's their income, what are their fears, what are their hopes, you know, where do they congregate online, who are they influenced by, who do they look up to? Once you know that better, it's easier. That will influence your whole strategy, and it will influence your tactics day in, day out. If you can enter the conversation already taking their place in their mind, it's much easier to put suggestions in. They feel like, on the receiving end, they feel like you're talking to them individually. They feel like you know who they are. They feel like you're one of them because you're talking their language and you're putting it across in their words. I love this quote here, bullet point number 2. This is from Tony Robbins. In order to influence someone, you must first know what influences them. In order to influence someone, you must first know what influences them. So if you're trying to influence somebody, or in essence persuade them, you know, to buy your product or your service, or come back and buy more, or recommend you, refer you to other people, you first got to know what influences them, where they hang out, who they like, what TV shows they watch, what do they read, where do they go online, what Facebook groups are they in. If you know that, it's much easier to get to know and understand your customer. Then you can talk to them in their language with the phrases that they use, meet them where they're at, and then you can throw in suggestions about what might help solve some of their problems for them, or alleviate some of that pain, or paint a brighter picture or a better future for them. One of the exercises Russell talks about in the book, and I love this, and anybody out there who's listened to this or watching this and who's done any NLP, neuro-linguistic programming before, will have come across this. People have a core motivation. They have a number of things that motivate them, but one of the key things that you can pinpoint is, are they more towards motivated? So towards pleasure, or the future, or possibilities, or the benefits of something happening, or the light at the end of the tunnel? Or are they more motivated to move away from something, move away from pain, or move away from cost or consequences or hurt, or move away from their current situation? So if you know, by understanding your dream customer and understanding where they hang out, or by going into the blogs or the forums that they're on, or the Facebook pages, rather than just assume and use your language, coming at it from your perspective, if you understand their language and the conversation already taking place in their mind, you can pitch and position and pre-frame your solution or product or service in a way that uses their language. And part of that language, some of it might be towards language, or more of it might be away from language. As entrepreneurs in general tend to focus more on towards language, possibilities, the future, ideas, creativity. Whereas it might well be the ideal customer that you're going at, in order to move them or prompt them or get them to at least test and try your product, to share their email address, to come into your funnel, you might be using more away from language to move away from the situation or the problem or the pain or the challenges that they're facing at the moment. They may be less focused on the future. They just want to get away from the situation that they're in at the moment. And what's great is In the book, Russell takes you through an exercise so you can start thinking about that in a bit more detail and you can start capturing some of those keywords. Love that. Once you're clearer on that, it makes decision making much easier because your decisions are then taken through the lens of your ideal or dream customer, through the lens of your avatar. So better to be laser focused into one particular type of customer and then feel like you're talking to them in their language rather than just have generic copy on your emails and your websites and your blogs. So target that as closely as you can. Now, one of the other things that Russell mentions and emphasizes within the book is the traffic is out there. We don't need to create it. We just need to get in front of what's already out there. So once you know your dream customer and where they're hanging out and you've got more clarity about them, then it's easier to think where to put ads or promotions and to engage them where that avatar, where that customer is already hanging out. Excellent. Last one in this video section. Russell talks a lot about the Dream 100. Now, Chet Holmes, who is credited with this original thought of targeting the Dream 100. Chet Holmes used to work for Charlie Munger, and Charlie Munger is the business partner of Warren Buffett. So Chet Holmes was working in one of Charlie Munger's business, and he was selling advertising in a legal magazine. And he'd done some research, and he'd realized that of his 2,000 prospects that they had on their database to go and try and track down and entice them to come and advertise in their magazine, after doing some research, he realized that 167 of those 2,000 prospects were making up over 95% of the ad spend. And those 167 prospects, guess what? Were advertising with his competitors rather than in their legal magazine. He decided to focus in on those 167. So this is where the Dream 100 idea came from. In essence, for him, it was his dream 167 in that case. But obviously, there's a critical mass, I guess, when you get to the 100 or more stage. But to finish that story off, he focused on the 167. And he went through a process of both sending them, I think, little gifts or things to try and get their attention. He'd then follow up with an email or follow up with a phone call. And after 3 months, nothing had happened. And I think he was beginning to lose faith. Is this strategy working or not? But guess what? By month 4, he'd landed his first big customer, who was Xerox. Xerox then became the biggest customer that not only he had at the time working for Charlie Munger, but the biggest customer across the business. By month 6, 2 months later, he'd landed 27 of those top 167 customers. And he doubled the advertising spend that he was bringing in by focusing on the biggest or most influential customers. By the time he left that role 3 years later, he got all 167 on board, because he was continually focusing on them and doing what he needed to do to build relationships with them, so they were more likely to reciprocate and more likely to be tempted to try his product or service. And if you've ever heard of Tim Ferriss and Tim Ferriss's book on the 4-Hour Workweek, Tim Ferriss tells a very similar story that when he was writing his first book, in the year as he was writing his book, he proactively went out and focused on what he wrote down as the top 100 most influential bloggers in and around the country at the time. He took time over that year before his book came out to build those relationships up. So he knew that when his book was out, he sent them a review copy and asked them to write a review on the day of launch. Hence the impact. 100 influential bloggers, not all of them, of course, did a review, but the majority of them did, then passed on that message to enough people, to their tribe, their following, that meant, guess what? Seemingly overnight success of him having a bestseller on his hands straight away. But he'd put the work in the year before approaching those most 100 influential people. So have a think about, if you haven't already, who are those most 100 influential people for you, for your product, for your service. This strategy really works. It takes a little bit of time, but it's worth taking the time and effort to start having a list. Who are your Dream 100? In fact, if you've got a product or a service or something on the internet, who in your Dream 100 has already got a distribution list or a distribution channel that if they were to promote your product, or if they were to send out an email on your behalf, or if they were to have you on their podcast, or if they were to mention you in one of their Instagram videos, that would warm you up straight away to their tribe, their following. And whether that's hundreds of people, thousands of people, or millions of people, depending on the influencer who comes back and says, yeah, yes, who would that be for you? because that can literally, you're then preaching to warm traffic because you're piggybacking on the authority of that influencer. But you've got to put the time and effort in to build the relationship with that influencer first. And again, what's great, there's an exercise in the book that Russell takes you through how to identify those for you. Now, I'm going to do another video where I talk you through number 4 and number 5. So Russell's thoughts around YouTube, I'll add my own thoughts in on that as well. And then I've got a specific one, the 24-hour Google ranking formula. Oh, it's so simple but super powerful. It's a fantastic technique. Actually, it's a free technique. It will take some time and effort, but if you can do this, there is a way of, over time, then getting first page rankings on Google and YouTube if you follow this formula. So I'll be giving you a little bit more of an insight into that on the next video. I think you're really going to love that one. Great stuff. So I highly recommend getting Russell's book, particularly because I believe he's still got it on offering it for free at the moment. You only have to pay for shipping and handling wherever you are in the world. If you are interested in that, actually, I'll probably put a link in the comments below. If you are interested, based on what I've said before, check it out. There's some fantastic stuff in Russell's book. Hope you found this useful. If you have, please like or share or subscribe or comment down below. And I look forward to talking to you again in the next video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.
Calling all aspiring moneymakers. Discover a treasure trove of free guides and software to help you make money online and offline. Click the links in the video description below to unlock expert resources for income generation, entrepreneurial mindset, and wealth building strategies. Ready to transform your financial future? Click now and embark on your money-making journey.
My name is Kieran Penrose, and welcome to the next video in my mini-series on YouTube on making money online at home. I think you're really going to love this one. This is just a little bit of a teaser, a taster of some of the great...
Calling all aspiring moneymakers. Discover a treasure trove of free guides and software to help you make money online and offline. Click the links in the video description below to unlock expert resources for income generation, entrepreneurial mindset, and wealth building strategies. Ready to transform your financial future? Click now and embark on your money-making journey.